when you were young, Safta read the poem The Bear's Adventure, right?
A bear must have adventure.
A bear must have adventure.
Said Teddy to himself.
What else did you read, Safta?
Many, many stories. Oh, I suppose most of the children's classics, and lots of others that were current at the times. And there was also, apart from the storybooks, there was a little really a small children's comic. It was also all about bears.
Yes, we had lots of bear stories.
Yes, all bear stories and bear characters in this comic magazine,
Rupert Bear.
There was Bear.
And Rupert Bear.
No, Rupert Bear was a separate entity.
Wasn't he in a magazine?
No. Yes, in everything, but it originally began with Rupert Bear stories, in book form, and then later into magazines, film strips, television series, everything you can think of, But there was this little magazine. You were perhaps 3 or 4 years old, and we started getting it for you, and it had Bookworm Bear. This was a bear that obviously liked to read a lot, read everything, including the sign at the bus stop and everything you can think of. And Bear, who didn't like to wear clothes, and several other bear characters. And you enjoyed that very much.
I don't remember.
No,
I don't remember.
You were very young.
I remember Paddington Bear.
Paddington Bear.
That was a big favourite.
Yes, that was absolutely. That came sometime later.
And Rupert Bear, I remember.
Rupert Bear, yes.
Who was the one who hid the alarm clock in the sock in the box in the cupboard?
In the cupboard, that's right, and then still got up late.
Yes. Got up late because he didn't hear the alarm.
Because he didn't hear the... Yes, this was a story about a bear who was going on a picnic the next day, and he very much wanted to be up in time to, I think, get
Wasn't that Rupert?
No, that wasn't Rupert.
Wasn't Rupert.
No, that was another bear story. But he wasn't used to an alarm clock, and the ticking absolutely was too much for him.
Yes.
So he put it first
in a sock,
and then the sock went into a shoe,
and the shoe in the box,
and finally it went into a cupboard. And then after that he couldn't hear it.
And we had Winnie the Pooh.
Oh yes, Winnie the Pooh. Not all our stories were about bears, but an awful lot of them came our way, one way or another. Yes, Winnie the Pooh.
And of course we had lots of James Herriot.
Oh yes, as the years went by, the wonderful Herriot stories, the famous veterinary surgeon. He became famous because of his, he brought to the attention of the world what it was like to be a veterinary surgeon in England in the 30s or late 30s and in the years of the war. Long before modern methods came into veterinary practice, and absolutely fascinating. The trouble was that many of these stories were very, very funny. And since I was reading them, I got to the funny point first. Your eyes get there before you can say. And always the complaint was from both your mother and from Nomi, don't laugh, tell us.
We did.
I'm just going to show you.
I think the parents who don't read to their children miss out on an awful lot.
Terrible. Terrible lot. It's very common now for parents not to read to children. A lot of children don't know any of the classical fairy tales.
No.
Children's books at all. They're not familiar with them at all nowadays. I suppose there are new ones,
Yes, I've no doubt there are.
They don't know.
famous ones like The Wind in the Willows.
That was another favourite.
What a wonderful,
We love The Wind
wonderful
in the
children's
Willows.
story. A story for all ages,
Yeah.
but of course written by a man for his son originally.
And Alice in Wonderland as well.
Yes, and A. Milne writing for his son in the
Winnie the
Pooh
Pooh.
Bear series, absolutely. I see today what they have because, recently when we were on holiday and staying with our friends in England, the Goldings, you know them well, Alex. Now there's a new generation, 3 little grandchildren, who spend a great deal of time with their grandmother, with Jennifer, and they have loads and loads of storybooks, but every single one of them has got something in it to make it not just words to be read, musical gadgets inside, so you open the book and it starts to play, a tune plays, and all sorts of things happen from this book that aren't just, it's not just somebody reading words from a book, telling a tale, but...
words and pictures.
Oh, pictures, plenty of them. So, new methods, or other methods.
Well, we always had some pictures in the
Oh,
book.
we had plenty of, yes, and they were even stand-up,
Yes,
you open the
pop-up
book and the
books,
pop-up picture appeared of castles when it was a tale about, princes and kings and queens, yes. But now with the more modern gadgets, the use of the more modern gadgets with the little books.
So do you think the children wouldn't hold their attention if they were just read to, do you think?
Well, that's what I was wondering. That's the question I asked, if people today are so motivated by modern inventions that they think, just the classic style of reading a story would be too tedious for a child. It's a question I ask. I mean, I don't really know.